What's going on, guys? Reed here. Um, I'm going to give it a few minutes for a few people to come in before we start our discussion on superimposition. um, this is a very interesting subject, and when, once I help you understand this concept, then you'll be able to um, right away see exactly when that narc is trying to gaslight you. This is going to help you turn the lights on so you're no longer in the dark, right? You're going to be able to see these narcs right in front of you, right? And after they show themselves to be the petulant, awful, disgusting idiots they are, then you'll know how to deal with them, how to handle them, right? So this concept of superimposition is very important for you to learn. It's sort of like it's akin to growing up. I think that if you want to learn how to stay clear from these sickos, these awful sicko weirdos, you have to understand the concept of superimposition. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let me tell you through stories, okay, stories and analogies, right? So let's go to the story where in the Bible where, and again, I'm not a Christian and I'm not a religious person. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm a doctor, and we're talking about a serious issue of the psychopaths, sociopaths, and predators targeting people with empathy, and they've been doing this since the beginning of mankind, right? And I'm talking about helping you understand those sick, diabolical, awful people, right? So let me go to an example in the Bible of Moses when he's standing in front of the Pharaoh, right? So I think the story goes, and I'm not a religious scholar or anything like that. So don't quote me. My quotes are going to be wrong, and they're going to be, it's my perspective. So get off my back. Um, Moses said, "Let my people go." And the Pharaoh said, "Okay, well, who are you?" And I think Moses said, "I came here from God." And then I think Pharaoh said, "Okay, if you say you came here from God, then show me some divine power, right? Show me some divine power." And what did Moses do? I think he tapped his rod 3 times, boom, 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 and then he threw the rod on the ground, right? Let it go, let it rip. And the Pharaoh looked at the stick, the rod. He looked and, well, it's a rod. And he looked over to his guy, another member of the royal court, meaning the in crowd, the clique, a flying monkey. um, he looked at his guy and said, "Man, this guy, what's wrong with this guy? There's food threw a stick on the ground, right?" He looked back up and said, "Okay, well, listen, are you joking or something like that? That's your divinity." And then Moses said, "Aha, look again." And Pharaoh looked at the stick, and then all of a sudden it turned into a snake, and Pharaoh's face turned pale. Thought he had saw a ghost. It shit him, scared the hell out of him, right? And he knew, and it was at that point he knew that Moses had came from God, and definitely he should let the people go, right? That's an example of superimposition, and that's a story. If you take it at the biblical level, like a religious story, Moses is telling him let his people go, right? But if you look at it as something a little bit deeper than just a religious story, maybe about the relationships or the dynamics between people, things, or structures, right? You can also use this as a model to sort of explain the issue and the problem with narcissism. and with narcissists, because they intentionally do this in order to provoke the same fears, anxiety, and anger and hostility in you that they did in the Pharaoh. Now, can you believe this? These narcs took the story from Moses and Pharaoh and learned how to use it as a weapon against you. They took the story. So, man, I can use this. Superimposition. Now, here's the caveat to that story. The stick never changed into a snake. When Pharaoh looked at it, his ego distorted what was there. And the snake was the illusion. And he was responding to illusion. In this case, fake information, just like you. And so in this case, let's say if this story of Moses and the Pharaoh, if Moses is the narcissist and the Pharaoh is you, then the narcissist comes to you and presents you with fake knowledge that you react and respond to rather intensely, just like the Pharaoh. But they present this fake knowledge to you as if it were real. But in this situation, when the narcissist presents the fake reality of fake news to you through the process of superimposition, then they usually have the witness on their side, not the witness on your side, because the witness on your side could see that, hey, it's still a stick, not a snake. And something must be wrong with you, Doc. It's a stick, not a snake, right? So the dynamics of that story is completely reversed. In that story, if Moses is the narc and you are the victim, then they will feed you false information for the purpose of your ego distorting the scenario. And then they put you back into the scenario that exposes your perceptual differences without you even knowing it. You think that these are your friends, but really what they're doing is setting you up and placing you on display so that everyone sees your perceptual disturbances or you crazy, right? But they've manufactured this because they've given you false information on purpose, knowing your brain is going to formulate the reality based upon that false information, and then put you in the environment that highlights the differences between you and the environment. And then that's when they can go around you and say, hey, yeah, you know he's crazy, right? You know he's crazy, right? That's when they say that. You're crazy, right? Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? With superimposition, in this case with the Pharaoh, the snake was superimposed upon the stick. And so in this case, it's very dangerous because an illusion surfaced. The person believed an illusion, but saw the illusion and believed illusion, but never saw the stick anymore. When that narc enters your life and you think it's spontaneous, but to them it was planned, the illusion is that this was a spontaneous relationship, spontaneous meeting. But in reality, they saw you early on. They talked about you. They expected your weaknesses. They set all the flying monkeys up around you. They started your targeting of you first and all that stuff. And so they set their defenses up and things like that. Then they contacted you. And after they set up their flying monkeys, after they set up all their defenses, they set up their privacy shield. No matter where they at, they're going to make sure they have privacy. If they're at the job, there will be places you would never be able to contact them at. If they're at work, you would never be able to get them. If they're at home, you would never be able. They're going to make sure they have some, and ultimately, when you shake them too much, they run back to the primary narc, the one that unalived them. That's usually an older narc that's silent in the background. And usually they live under hideous circumstances. You don't ever want to go over these sick people's homes. The narc they go back to is really running the show, not you. So the snake is superimposed upon the stick. And Narcissus uses this vulnerability. So what happens is that when you present it with two objects, this is a snake, this is a stick. This is a snake, this is a stick. When you're produced with these two objects, one is real and one is fake, right? If you build a reality around the fake illusion, then nothing you produce in that illusion is going to last for long, because it's not in reality. You can only gain your long-term benefit, long-term strategies in reality. That's why short-term strategy investing, getting distracted by short-term strategies will prevent you from getting to your long-term strategy, because all those short-term strategies are designed to end with everything that you put into it removed. So when you go into a delusional system, at the end of that delusion, when the delusional system is over, the balance is zero. So all the money you invested in a relationship goes to zero, right? You met this person. This person only wants you for clout, for maybe for sex, or maybe for income, or maybe for housing, but they really don't want you. Why? When they go back to their families or their friends, when they go back to the areas that you are not allowed, they talk about you all the time. It's hard. I really never, it's very seldom do you actually hear people talking very positively about their spouse, right? Superimposition. When that narc comes to you, smiling, girl, man, right? So and so said, right? So and so. They're trying to create your reality for you. So instead of allowing you to look at the situation and render opinion for yourself, they're going to put everything together for you. And then that's going to be the lens that you see the situation through. I had this sick narc in high school that would always go behind my back anytime we went anywhere. And it seemed like this sick narc always wanted to make sure that at any event I went to, I never enjoyed myself. Y'all remember those type of sick narcs? No matter what event you're in, they watching in the background, making sure you don't shine. I mean, I remember these sick narcs sitting around me every time the glow shows up there in the back, looking intimidated and scared. I got a chance to see two narcs afterwards. I was in, I don't want to change this up. I'll tell y'all about that later. So the narcs, they superimpose these lies upon the situation, and you believe the lie is not the truth. Gossip, right? That's the point of gaslighting. And the thing is that you sort of by default, you automatically accept the content that the narcissist gives you as the truth, and it's automatically formulated into your reality. And you will have to make a conscious effort to say, oh no, that is not true, right? That is absolutely not true. Because remember, when you engage with a narc, they're going to be lying to you all the time. And if you let those lies get through without reframing them or reorganizing them or challenging them with reality or truth, then they're going to assume that you agree with all the distorted perspective that they framed. So they're going to make it seem as if you agree with their framework. And so it's very important that when they start gaslighting and things like that, that you immediately address it. Say, hey, I don't agree with that. What do you mean by this? Give awareness. And at that point, when you catch them in the gaslighting, then that's when you call for a supervisor or call for help right at that point. You want to always be the first one to call with a narcissist, because if they call first, they're going to call first just to try to frame the issue. See, you're going to try to make it seem like you didn't do it, but what they're going for first is to frame the issue. And they try to get you passively to agree to their framework by not challenging the bullshit they give you when they're giving you this superimposition or these lies or this gaslighting right there in your face. Right there in your face. These sick, awful, and then they stink. These people, there's always, every time I've either dealt with a narc or they're awful. They always have something perverted about them. They are just sick people. I mean, they are just sick people, right? Now, in your life, the ego uses a very primitive defense mechanism called projection. Now, in projection, you take all the content, the unconscious content that you couldn't handle in your life, and you project it onto someone else around you. And so it's very primitive. So basically, they blame you for all of their dysfunction. And they really believe that you're the one who did it because they get the relief and comfort finally to get this shit off their shoulders. They find all the stuff that they were dealing with. Think about this. All the stuff that these idiots were could not deal with, they suppressed down to the unconscious. And because these are primitive, sick people, they only have a very primitive defense mechanism called projection. So they can't deal with it themselves because it's too painful, too difficult. So what do? They project it out onto the people in their environment. And so they blame them for it. And there's a quality to it. They're like, this justification, this righteousness, and it's just this righteous indignation that they have. You did this to me. I don't even know you. What's your name, man? Right? Because it's them. Right? And when they're projecting their issues onto you, that's the process of superimposition. They're saying you are this, and you saying, I don't know. No, I'm not. They're saying you are this, you are that, you are that, you are that. And that's why these sick narcs, what they do, like I still work with a sick narc. I think he's on a leash right now, but this sick narc would go around absolutely everyone at the hospital I work at. Absolutely everyone superimpositioning, lying, gaslighting, giving everyone a framework to view me. And it was very effective. I was surprised that this is an old 50-year-old sick man looking perverted. Same thing, perverted, sick. Now I can talk openly because remember, the narcissists are always hiding in the shadow. And remember, with the narcissist, it's awareness that they run from. You rip the mask off. So narcissists have vulnerabilities. Like the narcissist that was targeting me around 5 years. And so I have a full team documenting this ignorant fool. He doesn't understand how much content I have. Every, like I said, if you're not recording or not, you're doing something wrong. Every encounter, detail, a whole team, multiple people documenting everything in this narc. So I got everything that this narc didn't think I had, right? And so since I have that, I can come out and talk about it because the the idiot stalks, so you're gonna be watching my podcast. Watch me talking about him. He can't say anything out of state. He has to stay in the shadow. So I'm talking about this sick narc who's been targeting me for like 5 years at the hospital I work. Now you can't say anything about it, you sick narc. But everybody know who you are. Everybody know you. Who are you, sick narc? Pervert? Sick. So that's what these sick people do. They give you false information, overlay the situation with just enough right stuff so that you can believe that it's true. And then they go around to the victims they're targeting, telling people about the techniques that they're doing. Don't listen to them because they're going to make it seem so false or so real. It's going to be hard to separate. So, these people are sick. People are sick. People are sick. And so what happens when they give you false information, it's received as knowledge. So when they tell you something, so and so is this, they're acting like they're giving you a favor because they're saying, hey, I'm giving you an update on the network of everything that's happening around us. This is an update. So and so is this, so and so is that. So, oh yeah, and it's received as benefit because the narcissist is grooming them and making them believe that they benefit from understanding, possessing, transmitting, and keeping the information that the narcissist gave them secret. They feel that they've gotten something of value because just keep this secret. This is a value, and oh my God, it's gonna knock the socks off. So they receive this fake knowledge, believing that they have some benefit for it. Now, while they believe that this fake knowledge is true, it's their previous history with the situation that allows them to be vulnerable to this type of gaslighting or this type of grooming, right? So in the case where Pharaoh sees the snake and he jumps up, Pharaoh is projecting the snake onto the stick because Pharaoh had previous encounters with snakes. Hold on one second. My phone is gotta restart my phone. Okay, Pharaoh had previous experiences with snakes, and that's why he projected the image of the snake on top of the stick. And he believed that it was a snake, and he reacted to it as if it was a snake, but it wasn't a snake. It was more an illusion that was actually created by the ego through projection. So the snake is there, and the stick is there, and the ego simply overlaid the image of a snake. And it did that it projected, these were the worst fears. These are the worst fears Pharaoh had. And so he projected the snake upon the stick. And so this type of fake knowledge, the thing that makes these narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths so deadly is that they can read you so well, they find out what you're attached to and then create a scenario that threatens your attachment. And they present it to you as help for your attachment, right? So I'm going to help you maintain your attachments to decrease your anxiety and fears for everything. And I'm going to give you updated this, and they believe it's true. but it's their previous history with exploitation or abuse or things circles that makes them overreact and makes them start to you expand their ego, use projection, and now they're seeing the things that they couldn't deal with. They're seeing the things that tormented the most. They're seeing the things that they couldn't handle. Pharaoh obviously was afraid of snakes, and that's what he projected onto the stick. And Moses understood that very well. That's why in his demonstration he used a stick and not like a ball or something like that, right? He could have used a ball as opposed to a stick. I think if he used a ball, I don't think it may not have been anything that Pharaoh was dealing with in his unconscious. So I hope that makes some sense. And so in this situation, the narcissist comes to you with fake love, right? And you've been hurt in the past, right? So they comes you with fake love and tells you all the bells and whistles, produce the performance for real love. Attention, I like you this, I love you that, helpful, all this, the grooming, the gaslighting, the honeymoon, all of those things, is what they're doing to create this illusion and the illusionary world, right? And it takes repeated experience with these illusions for you to pop out of it. So after 3 or 4 of these relationships, the next narcissist that comes up to you and idealize you and say, oh my God, you are the best thing that I ever had, then you sort of understand that it's time to go. Okay? I hope this is helpful for you guys. I gotta go now. Read out. I'll do part 3 soon. Take care.